Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a new live session of Hype, the live blog of travel tech and hospitality. This session today is part of a program called Collectives, where in each episode my intention is to pick, some interesting hot, topic, and bring on stage, top leaders to share their knowledge, experience, and so on, and make this is like an open conversation. And actually, when I say open conversation, my goal actually is to try to make the most, interaction as possible with the audience. So people watching right now, connecting from LinkedIn or YouTube, uh, really feel free to, share your comments during the live. If you have some question for the speakers, really you have the right space here to interact and participate. So how is going to be structured the episode today? So let me share my screen quickly because I want to do something fun. I want to share with you already which are going to be the questions I have prepared for our speakers. So you see here we have 5 different questions. Probably we will never get to the end. I try to stay within 60-70 minutes for the live today. So don't worry, I don't want to bother any one of you. But before to raise this question and open the conversation with the speakers, we will have a quick intro from Yaya. I will introduce Yaya in a few seconds. That he will share some story about the evolution of distribution, and then we move on. Katie from Amadeus, she will share some data points in order to have some storytelling one side, some data point on the others, and trying to make this conversation more attractive for everyone. So again, those are the questions, but let's do something. Let's introduce the speakers. Hi, good afternoon. Welcome on stage.
Hey, good afternoon, Enzo. Thank you so much.
Hi, Diego.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Christian. Hi, Katie.
Hello.
Hi, Jerome. Okay, so this is going to be a really packed conversation today, many speakers, but let's do something. Let's start to make a quick round. I want you to introduce each other. Let's start from Yaya.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. Thank you, Enzo, for the opportunity to be part of this, and delighted to be with everyone. My name is Yahya. Everybody call me Yahya Fitchati, and I'm head of supply for Nuite. I'm actually based in Dublin, in the headquarters of Nuite, and briefly, Nuite is a technology company that operates at the intersection between travel and software, and we just provide infrastructure that let businesses beyond travel embed hotel booking in their platform. So delighted to be here again. Thank you.
Thank you, Yaya. Hi, Christian. It's your turn. You're off. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Enzo, for inviting me here to this webinar. So my name is Christian Lepon. I'm managing director of Vertical Booking, which is part of the Zucchetti Group, especially Zucchetti Hospitality. We are an Italian-based IT company covering a whole tech stack for hotels, from the PMS over CRS to RMS and some additional tech tools. I'm based in Italy. It's an Italian company right now, sitting in Paris, but yeah, our headquarters are in Bergamo, Italy.
Thank you, Christian. Hi, Jerome.
Hello. Hi, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everyone. Greetings from Indonesia. I'm Jerome de la Cruz from Hyperguest, and I am mostly based in Jakarta and Manila. My role in Hyperguest is I help strengthen and build direct connection between travel agents and hotels, specifically for APAC region, and I'm very pleased to be in this panel.
Thank you, Jerome. Diego.
Hi everyone, good evening. Thank you, Enzo. First of all, thank you for having me here. Long time ago, without this kind of event, so really happy to be here. I'm the CEO of Por Hotels, which is a Spanish hotel chain with 11 properties. Our headquarters are located in Benidorm. Is one of the most important places in the tourism in Spain. And we have hotels all around the Costa Blanca, which is one of the most important also areas for having holidays in Spain. Some part of our portfolio are resorts, some part of our portfolio city hotels. And I just became CEO of a company 1 year and a half ago. Almost new in the position, and before that, I was the head of revenue at one of Paladino Hotel, which is a Spanish company, a Spanish hotel chain. And in my free time, when I have free time, I love to write books. So this is mainly what I'm doing right now.
That's cool. Katie.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Katie Morrow. I work on the travel intelligence product team within Amadeus Hospitality. So I come from the TravelClick acquisition. So we were acquired by Amadeus in 2018, and I've been with the company all together for 17 years. So I'm really excited to be here. I don't work on the distribution side of Amadeus, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, but I do work a lot with data, and I'm excited to have this conversation and be able to present some of our data to you today. So thanks so much for having me, Enzo.
You're welcome. Sebastian.
Enzo, pleasure to be here. My name is Sebastian Leitner. I run partnerships and advocacy at Cloudbeds. Cloudbeds is a PMS platform that is used by 22,000 properties worldwide. And yeah, excited to be here.
Fantastic. All right, here we are, guys. So as I said, the initial part of this live streaming, just a few minutes, I would love to hear some story from Yaya regarding the evolution of distribution. So I'll pick up your slide and then you can speak and talk.
Just tell me when you have the slides there, because I don't see the screen.
Yeah, rapid run.
All right, brilliant. So I have a couple of slides really to talk, 5-6 slides to talk about hotel distribution and the story behind it. Distribution over 50 years probably. So I had to kind of choose part of it, not all of it. So and I put in beyond OTAs because I think that while OTAs have been incredible over the last 25, 30 years, we believe that there is also something beyond. So and we think as hotel really distribution grows more open and kind of decentralized. Infrastructure and particularly technology will define the winners in the future. We think that modern hotel distribution has to be what AWS, Amazon Web Service, is for computing, or Stripe is for payments. And this will allow really for hotels to unlock new channels, control pricing, and offer personalized experiences. To do that, we think that there is a really need and a focus on creating an open, developer-friendly infrastructure layer for travel that eliminate inefficiencies and open hotel distribution to kind of a wider ecosystems of sellers. So if you go into the evolution, we had the then, the now, and the next. So the distribution transformed from agent-driven. We knew that through travel agents and GDS, to OTA-centric with the dominance of the big ones. And now really evolving in what we see being smart, integrated, guest-centric ecosystem. Where we think control, personalization, and new channels like marketplaces, like social commerce, like AI agents will redefine the future strategy. So the landscape, this is the landscape that we think hotels need to change. Smart, because distribution is moving beyond just pushing rates to channels toward more kind of intelligent, automated merchandising, where AI will play a very important role mainly in terms of optimizing rates and availability and dynamic packaging and things like that. And we think that the API first company will play a very, very important role, not just to OTAs and GDSs, but also in terms of e-commerce, fintech platforms, loyalty apps, and things like that. So integrated, because we are going to look at unifying the entire commercial kind of stack, PMS, CRS, RMS, and all the system that hotels use, all integrated in real time and creating kind of some sort of single source of truth, if I may say that, where loyalty is integrated and cutting all the kind of manual work. So I'll just make sure that I have the OTA plateau. I think I'm sure that you've seen some of the news recently about the fact that even Booking.com, I think the CEO at Skift last week was mentioning some sort of plateauing when it comes to growth. And in certain instances, obviously, it doesn't help what commission as high as 30-40% eating into hotel profits. So I think price comparison sites make every hotel look the same, really, Metaser. So hotels are shifting today to more kind of balanced mix, putting more focus on direct bookings, adding loyalty, and that's normal because they need to keep control of margin, own the guest relationship, and of course drive repeat business. So the market shifts. The good news. This is data from Skift again. Direct digital bookings are expected to be over 400 billion, and that actually bigger than the OTA business. I think it's around 300 billion. So they're on track to exceed that by 2030, and this is really fueled again by AI agents and social commerce, by marketplace commerce, and hoteliers will really shift from we think from traditional kind of distribution to guest commerce. All channels will become dynamic, and we think API first technology companies will definitely have a role and an advantage in seamless kind of plug-in into fintech, loyalty, influencer, commerce, and super apps. So this is where we see some of the changes happening, and this is really enabling, also will enable the hotel to do more personalization, more bundled experiences, and ultimately open access to high growth non-travel demand. So the non-travel demand is one of the biggest kind of new commerce that we see happening. So why is that? Because again, modern APIs are allowing that. APIs are here to stay. They provide the necessary connections and open doors to the fast growing audiences beyond just travel channels. The reason is real-time data exchange, flexible, scalable integrations, global reach, and the workflows are quite seamless. And this is, again, just to give an example of what's happening. If you look, modern APIs are helping reach new guests in the new ecosystem by showing actually right in your app or that you already use. So this is an example, banking apps like Revolut. For example, they have 60 million users, I think, and now they include hotel bookings, so people can reserve right within the app without leaving their bank while earning loyalty points doing that. So super apps like Grab, WeChat, Rappi, they all integrate with today hotel booking infrastructure. Social platforms are switching today as well in bookings. That's the case of TikTok, who now pays the creators commissions and giving them hotel direct line to kind of the new Gen Z audiences. So putting all these together, right? This opened really an opportunity for younger tech native audiences beyond the traditional kind of OTA bank distribution. So to sum up, we think that the shift is happening, and we move in while the traditional kind of players are here to stay. We don't think that the biggest growth will be coming through that, but it'll be coming through the new generation of travelers, which is a good news for hotels. So that's the brief description. Since I only have 5 minutes, I don't have the timer here, so I don't know whether I'm more time. Thanks, Enzo.
Wow, that was great. I like two particular aspects you mentioned. The first one, that you are becoming, try to becoming the first source of truth, where every tech stack in the hotel will be, unified through API, and that would be really. I wish you guys to get to this point, because it's a very big challenge. The industry is suffering since many years, especially because we live in a very super fragmented industry, and the fact you mentioned at the end that OTA will not dominate the future. So this is going to be also an interesting angle, right? So let's see some data reference now from Katie. Katie, you can I'll share the screen for you, right?
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So here we are. That's the cover. Global booking trend. So let's get some interesting insight from Amadeus Market Intelligence analysis based on 2025.
Perfect. Thank you, Enzo. And I'm going to be kind of looking up because I'm on my phone on the webinar, but I'm looking at my screen because I really can't see that. I'm getting a little too old to be able to look at my phone and see all those details. So I apologize. So listen, I want to just do a couple of slides just to give the lay of the land from a data perspective, and I think it will help guide our conversation for sure. So first, let's look at some airline information. So this is all of Europe traveling to Europe, and we're comparing right now schedules, which is the capacity, right? So how many seats are actually going from Europe into Europe, and then also looking at the traffic, which is bookings from a historical perspective that Amadeus has access to, as well as our forecast into the future. So you can see here that from a capacity perspective, there was more capacity this year than last year. And you will see this even in our slides from like worldwide into Europe, which is really what I should have brought here, but the capacity has increased. It's interesting because if you look then at the traffic or the bookings, you can see in the summer months that we were a little bit stronger this year than last year. But if you actually look from the global point of view into Europe, 2025 fell behind a little bit in the summer months. And I want to make that point because when I look at it globally, actually we fell behind a little bit in the summer months, because I'm going to talk about that from the hotel perspective in just a second. When I look out into the future from August through November, you do see a drop from a forecast perspective. I do want to note, though, it's very seasonal. And if you look back at on the left-hand side of the slide, you see it. So nothing to get super concerned with. It is just a seasonality that comes into play there. But you definitely see that decline as we head into the winter months and definitely into strong holiday periods within Europe. Overall, you see a 2.1% growth. So I know we talk about maybe demand being a little bit flat, but definitely still seeing some growth into Europe. And then when I look at it from a hotel perspective, so this covers about 45,000 hotels globally that we collect PMS data for. You can see here that, again, in those summer months in Europe, you are seeing a little bit stronger pace than you did last year. So I'm going to say that that's mostly travel within Europe when I compare it to how the airlines business looks. So I think more travel into Europe. And I guess, as you all know, who mostly live in Europe, obviously you could be training or driving depending on the location. So maybe not necessarily needing to get into an airplane, but you do see that 2025 paced ahead of last year for the summer months. When I look out into the fall from a hotel perspective, we're on pace to last year. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
Do I need to change the slide? No, I'm still on the first one.
Yes. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen above me. Sorry.
That's all right. I was
sorry.
lost.
I'm like going. Yeah.
I'm on the second one. Total
one.
hotel pace. Should I move to the third one?
No, not yet, because I'm just going to talk quickly about the fall. So what we see now is that we're on pace to last year, but if you notice, if you look at the group pace at the bottom, September, October, November are all ahead of last year from a group perspective, which to me is always great news, right? Let's create that compression with group commitments, and from there, drive transient demand. So you do see that in those months. So that's a positive sign for me as we move into the fall. Okay, you can go to the next slide, Enzo, sorry. Okay, and so obviously we're on a call about distribution, so I would be remiss not to talk about the channel information. Not too much to say, if I'm honest, about the year-over-year shift and kind of the breakdown in channel overall. Obviously, within certain brands or regions, you do see a little bit more of a shift here and there, but pretty flat. And so to Yaya's point, looking at like from an OTA perspective, maybe plateauing, you really don't see much shift here. So it's pretty flat. What I will point out at the top, and I'm sorry, it's not the most attractive slide, but I did want to have this on here, is looking from a rate change perspective. So when you look at the different channels, obviously brand.com is self-explanatory. CRS would be if you had a call-in system. Direct is on property. So if you have mostly group falling in there, and then you have the GDS and the OTAs. So what I will point out here, and then on the next slide, as we're talking about the distribution strategies, is the year-over-year change on the GDS with the highest percentage year-over-year change based on our Demand 360 participants. So a channel that has been talked about for a long time about what's the future. We are seeing continued growth, especially around ADR perspective, which to me means, higher rated retail business. And if you go to the next slide, Enzo, that point will be validated by looking at the Amadeus GDS information. So I'm going to focus mostly on the corporate segment there. From a year-over-year change perspective in room nights, it's a decline of 4%. And historically, the GDS was mostly driving corporate business. But if you look at the consortia and the non-negotiated, which means retail business, leisure business, you're seeing a 16.6% change in non-negotiated and a 2% increase almost on consortia. And then if you look on the far right, the ADR change is 5% up year on year. So, what we're telling hotels right now is look at, especially your weekend business when you're trying to generate demand, understand your performance in the GDS, because there is a lot of, I would say, high-end opportunity to book travelers through travel agents. So that's really it. That's what I have. But I think it's a really good way to start the conversation about distribution strategy. And so I'll turn it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And actually, sorry, because by using a Google Drive, sharing your slide, there was some element missing. But if you are interested to get the full detailed presentation, feel free to reach out to Katie via
happy to share.
And she will be happy to share your slide. All right, let's move now to the conversation. So this is going to be a straightforward question. And in this one particular, I would like to hear first Diego, because he's the hotel perspective. Okay, so let's read it together. If you were advising a 100-room independent hotel today, let's assume you have, a resort and a regional, seasonal hotels perspective, luxury segment, and so on. What 5 distribution channels or tactics would be not negotiable for you?
Yeah, thank you, Enzo, for asking that. And first of all, congratulations to Yaya's and Katie's presentation. What a great time. I will ask to have that presentation after that, because we were really, really interested. They have touched 2 important things, the unify the tech stack or the tech distribution stack, and also all the numbers that Katie has shown us are really, really interesting. I have taken notes about that, because there are things to think about. But going forward to that question, first of all, I don't mind if my hotel has 100 rooms or 1,000. I mean, I think that there are some principles that all the hotels need to do. First of all, have a strong website, because I'm going to mix distribution channels strategies and also other things that all the hotels need to have. You need to have a strong website with a really good booking engine. This is mandatory because we are spending a lot of money in technology, and some companies, some hotels, and it doesn't matter the size of the hotel, they don't have a proper tech stack in terms of booking engine. They don't have a professional booking engine, and they lose a lot of money because the booking engine is so important in your distribution strategy, because it's the pillars of your direct sales. So you need to take care of that. Going a little bit further, with no doubts, have a meta search and Google Hotel Ads strategy. If you don't have budget enough, or you don't have size enough to do that internally, try to hire somebody externally to drive the marketing, the digital marketing strategies. This is mandatory, because bring clients to your hotels is expensive, and you need to have tactics in place to do that. So this is the second one. Going directly to the distribution, you need to work with partners with a value for you. Your partnerships, your partner, your OTAs strategies need to give value to you. Because in distribution, I have a sentence that sometimes less is more in distribution, because not all the channels bring the best client to you. Not for having hundreds of OTAs and channels contracted, you will sell more. This is something very important. Not less is more in distribution, and I think that you need to take care of that. You need to take advantage of the best clients you can have in your hotels in terms of distribution channels. Okay, you need to have a strong partnership with B2Bs, also with B2Cs, and other segments like MICE, groups, and social events, for example. So you need to have in one hand balanced distribution strategy, and in the other hand, you need to work with clients which are able to give value to your hotel. Okay, this is very important. And last but not least, probably have a CRM. The CRM is like the brain of your company, because you need to have a strong loyalty program. You can have our independent hotel. It doesn't matter. You have 1 hotel, 10 hotels, 100 hotels. If your direct client go to your website and has advantage to be part of your loyalty program, it doesn't matter if you have 1 hotel. You will be part of the family, part of the hotel. You will come back through my own channel, because I'm giving to you a special discount, I give you a special perks, and you are part of the loyalty program. Okay, I'm only 1 hotel. You don't have more hotels to go, but once you want to be in my destination, you will choose me, because I will have the best condition possible if you book directly through me. Call loyalty, call it in the way that you want, because maybe a loyalty program with 1 hotel is not necessary, but you need to reward your direct client. You need to reward your repetitive guest, and this is very important. And as I said, it doesn't matter if you are 100 hotels room independent hotel or a big chain. Try to reward in a good way your repetitive clients or your direct clients.
It's obvious that, Diego, you are really putting the focus in your group, Port Hotels, right?
Yeah.
strong objective in
Yeah.
making your direct bookings
Yeah.
channel the most productive one, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I face situations speaking with hotels that are doing, or trying to do and to afford, to make the direct booking the most profitable or
Yeah.
most bookable channel. But in many cases, believe me, I was analyzing situation where the cost of acquisition was higher than a commission in OTA. I mean, this is a quite.
It's oh wow. Yeah, it could be. It could be. And the cost of acquisition right now in the industry is so high because Google is really expensive right now. If you want to bring the client to your website, it's really expensive right now after the COVID. All the Google ads and these platforms are really expensive.
Yeah.
If you have an 80% of cost of distribution in your direct channel, you
Shut
have
down the website. I mean, the best.
you have a big problem.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
you have a big problem in your distribution strategies. Also, you need to balance that. If you are paying 80% to get your client, you have a problem.
There's something wrong here. Sebastian, you represent, a big global organization. You mentioned you have how many properties? 22,000?
22,000. Yes,
Oh.
exactly.
I mean,
Wow.
looking at those property, I mean, probably there is some, shift between US property, how they approach distribution versus Europe and so on. But in general, which are the top 5 channels they are connecting to?
The answer will vary greatly by the location, by the property. At Clubbeds, we have properties that sell for $8 a night, and I think the highest price we found was $24,000 a night. So we do everything from hostels to luxury resorts. What they all have in common is they're usually in secondary and tertiary markets, so we're less in corporate destinations like New York or Las Vegas, but we are in very, I guess, leisure destination and markets that are of great demand to leisure travelers. We have some of our properties that work 100% direct. They don't work with any OTAs, and they're very happy about it. I spoke to a hotel group recently that gets 100% of their business through social media campaigns, which is crazy to think about it. But they're extremely successful. So we tend to see that, the rules of or the common practice of hospitality management is still true, which is the following. And I think you asked for sort of 5 best practices, if you will. Who's your audience? How do they book? And once you sort of understand that and what your competitive landscape looks like, it naturally leads to which are the channels that I need to be visible, transparent, and distinguish myself from my competition. Now, in some cases, that is the GDS, and that's all corporate booking engines. In some cases, that is bed banks and wholesalers, because there's heavy reliance on travel agents that can package tourism in very specific destinations. And in some cases, these are backpackers that get inspired by influencers or by social media stories that they're seeing on TikTok. Knowing who your audience is that you're catering to will define your distribution strategy and the channels that you need to be present in. That's what I guess the data from our properties show us.
Yeah, that will be interesting also to see from the angle of vertical booking, which is also providing connectivity. And how many properties is currently using vertical booking, Christian?
It's about 9,000.
Okay, so what is your own view versus the one shared by Sebastian?
Mine, I totally agree. It really depends. If you ask for the 5 biggest channels, okay, there might be 2 very big players, 3 that most of the hotels are using. But it very much depends on the size of the property, of the location of the property. Having then the right mix between the different channels, which is very obvious. One thing, and I would like to add here, is looking at the future and evolution, this is something when we're talking about which channels or should I work with, is the evolution of the travel. And there was that interesting report that was published last year by Deloitte, I think, Next Gen Travelers Distribution, in which they were trying to look forward up to 2030 in terms of what will be the behavior. And one aspect was where will the travelers be coming from? And we probably know China is a very interesting market, already growing in terms of individual travelers, not only groups like in the past. India is a big market, and this is what the report is telling. Let's say the travelers will come more and more from those, let's say, growing countries. So what the hotel should keep in mind when it comes to distribution, to take also care of, let's say, the geographical aspect of where travel is coming from. I mean, we are seeing now in this year, business from the US is dropping. In Italy, we have some cities where the business from the US is very, very important. If this breaks down, what I suggest is be prepared to recover from other destinations that are growing and will be growing, whether it's through some channels, partners, whether it's direct, but keep that focus on the geographic aspects.
Okay, cool. Right. So one thing's to take also in consideration, I think this is going to be the next question, and I would like to know also Jerome's point of view. We hear mostly from Europe and US, then having some perspective from Jerome, which is based in APAC. So let me raise the next question. All right, distribution costs are often the elephant in the room. What's your view on how hotels should evaluate the true cost versus value of each partner? And also, just to refer to the fact that Jerome is coming from hotels background. So I will be interested to know your point of view, Jerome.
Hello, hi Enzo. Yep. And if I may add on the background, yep, I can also wear an OTA hat because I used to work for an OTA also in the past. Now, I think in terms of how should evaluate the true cost versus value of each partner, pragmatically, there's a lot of formula and ways to compute the costs per channel, but I must say that in reality there are different ways of how the hotel register a cost. For example, as OTA channel, some hotels are registering, after the commission as the revenue, but not the whole selling amount. Therefore, the cost, recognition of that hotel or that market is already different. So the cost is something that could be debated in this parameter, but pragmatically, my point of view here is that prioritize channels that has zero costs as much as possible. I think the zero cost is like the easy to remember rule as to how the hotel should view and evaluate a channel that they should work with, because in there's proliferation of different channels now, even direct channels. It's also important to note that direct channels will not be booked if you don't spend marketing promotions to that. So I think the first one is try to prioritize those channels with zero cost, because that will definitely be be of help in making your numbers go green.
Thank you, Jerome. Actually, I would like to share something interesting. I don't know if you are aware. I was actually scrolling the feed of LinkedIn the other day, and I discovered this platform where the objective is actually creating the first OTA kind of only dedicated for direct booking. And guess what? The founder of this company, it's Steve Kofer from TripAdvisor. So I think it's obvious that the intention of the industry in driving direct booking, but it sounds like direct booking it should lower the cost. But let's see. Let's see. Honestly, are you aware of this challenge, guys? Any of you? Did you know about this?
It's the first time that I see the
Yeah, first time.
Same.
that's
First
Okay,
time.
that's the latest one. So I always have the good one, you know. Right. Let's go back to the question and see, Diego. What's your view? I mean, you are a very analytical person when you
Yeah.
analyze cost of
Yeah, you know.
distribution. Which are
You know me perfectly, my friend. First of all, Jerome, you need to tell me which channels are at zero cost or almost zero cost.
HyperGuess.
Yeah. Good, good point. Good point, my friend. No, I mean, I think that you have spoken about something very important, which is we need to power all the channels necessary to below our cost of distribution. But first of all, you need to know your cost of distribution. Simple as that. Okay. I have been a director of revenue management for probably 12 years, and there is a great difference between a revenue department who drives incomes to that revenue department to drive profits. And this is a huge difference. Okay, you need to concern your revenue team that the cost of distribution are really important, because sometimes in our PMSs, the booking cost is not is in the PMS. Oh, sorry, it's not in the PMS. The commission of Booking.com is not in the PMS. Okay. First of all, some part of our revenue managers in the industry don't realize, that Booking has costs because they see the PVP and the system in the same way that they see the rates in our website. Okay, they see the same, and there is a probably 20% profitability in these two channels. So first of all, try to know the reality of your hotels only with the commission. And after that, there are a lot of costs involving all the channels that you have contracted. You need to know as revenue manager or as a hotel manager, all the cost of distribution that your hotel has or your chain has, because there are difference between 30 and 40% of profits between one channel and another one. This is a huge difference, and I'm some kind of expert in the resort distribution in the resort areas. There are difference between 30 and 35% between your channel and the tour operators in terms of margins. Okay, you need to be aware of that, and after that, you need to take your decision, because you need to have a balanced distribution strategy. We know that you need your tour operators, you need your OTAs, but take into account that your capacity is finite. You have 100 rooms in your hotels, or you have 100 rooms in your hotel, and in high season, you have only 100 to give to all the channels. So try to give inventory to your own channels, try to give inventory to the more profitable channels, but to do that, you need to know your cost of distribution. This must be the real key aspect in this specific thing.
Katie, one curiosity, because sometime I heard about GDS, and Amadeus is probably the biggest, provider in the world, and some side of the industry say GDS is dropping, but at the end of the day, we just saw your numbers, and GDS is always there, and for some reason, someone say that it's a very high cost to distribute across GDS. But it's also true, and I was looking at some analysis in the past, that one of the highest ADR bringing is from GDS. So it's also important, the correlation between the cost of distribution, but the quality in ADR is able to this challenge is able to bring to your to your hotel, right? So can you give us some more clarity on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think your point is very valid. I mean, when you take the GDS as a channel and you think about the mix of business that comes from it, like I just showed, you have your corporate travel, which is heavily negotiated and typically would bring an ADR down, right, from a channel perspective. And then you have the leisure side that's booked via travel agencies for typically, I would say travelers who spend more money. But when you combine those two, and the GDS is still the highest rated channel, it definitely is bringing in good ADR. And so while the cost may be there, I think you have to weigh that, right? What ADRs are they bringing in? So I think it's still a really valuable channel. And I mean, obviously, this is not trying to sell, but like we have the GDS media offerings that are there and really targeting these travel agencies to book your hotel. But I think it goes back to, I think what Sebastian said earlier is you really have to understand the market that you're in, right? The GDS may not always be the right answer. And you need to understand from a competitive perspective, are they bringing in bookings into competition and not to you? And I'll give you one example. I have a hotel here in New Orleans that their theme for the year is win the weekend. And they're trying to drive weekend business because they saw softening kind of heading into 2025. And so we sat down with them with the data to say, your competition on the weekends is winning in the OTAs and GDS. So then the hotel needs to make that decision. Where do you want to spend your marketing dollars to drive business from those channels where the competitor is getting the business? So I think that that's critical. And I'll just say one more thing that I was thinking when someone was speaking earlier. I have a small brand in the US that is just US based, opened a hotel in Mexico. And we provided insights into the market. And what they found was that actually Ctrip was a huge driver of business into that market. And so for this US based hotel where they don't really rely on Ctrip for any of their properties based in the US, they had to figure out, how am I going to create brand awareness and get my hotel out on Ctrip? So again, it goes back to understanding what are the channels booking in the market, and make sure that you have a strategy around those, and understanding that that's where cost maybe has to be put to the back burner, as long as it's not 80%, granted, because that's the channels that are driving the business. And that's really where you need to be investing and playing, is what's going to drive the most results for you.
So I'd like to see now, I'll give you a chance, guys, to pitch some of your products, but just, to share, interesting things always with the audience. Is there a way, because maybe Diego before mentioned that most of the cases PMS doesn't take in consideration, or is not included, the cost of distribution or stuff like this. So through, I don't know, let's see, Sebastian with Cloudbeds, and Christian with vertical bookings, I would like to know if from your platform there is a way to have this under control, or as some sort of tracking method. But also from Yaya, I would like to know if your vision of this source of truth, and you mentioned about smart distribution. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but when you talk about smart distribution, I always take in consideration those factors, including cost of distribution. So I would like to see from Christian and Sebastian, in somehow, if there's some way to control cost of distribution through your platform. Christian.
I want to just go back one step to what we were saying before about the cost of distribution, because I found the data Katie provided about the GDS business very interesting. I've been working for a GDS representation company more than 15 years ago, and everyone was telling us, you're going to die because of the OTAs. And they are still there, and we can see the same thing. We have a higher GDS production on our chain code that we had before COVID, so it looks like these dinosaurs will be surviving anyone else. So interesting to see that you have the same in Amadeus. And then about the cost, exactly what Katie said. I mean, GDS bookings usually have a much higher ADR. They are booking with a shorter booking window. In Europe, we have often also not only negotiated rates, but big part of basic public rates, even with a discount booked. So when we look at the cost, we also not only we have to look at the cost, as Diego said, but not only also at the profitability of that. And there, the GDS still remains a very interesting channel, of course, based on the location. Then now to your question. With regards to the, let's say, the commission and the cost, we have been approached by a few of our bigger customers, chains. One thing is that we do not get this information from big part of the channels. So we, as the, let's say it's a CRS or the channel manager part, we just do not get this information. So it would be incomplete then. From what we get, we are able to send this information over to the PMS, and we are doing that especially for the direct channels, or let's say some web service channels that we connect to. But we wouldn't be, let's say, aware of 100% of what the commissions are that the customers have to.
It's always, you mean, it's always an input coming from hotels first?
Yeah, it's, I mean, from the channel, if you don't get the information from the channel, how much commission is due on that booking, we can't know that, we can't transmit it. If we get it, then we are able to send it over to the PMS. Then the question if it's always necessary, because if the information is partial, then it might have more sense that you manage everything out from the PMS. But on that side, what we have, we can send it. It's sometimes like for the payments, it has a little bit changed. For independent hotels, how much sense does it have to handle your 5%, 5 or 3% of direct prepaid bookings directly in the booking engine, if the other 97% of the payments will have to be handled on the PMS? Then we can do it. It's no problem. It's a question then of consistency, also on how you want to handle things, half here, half there. I would suggest you handle it in one single place. And when it comes to the commissions, we don't have that information in 100% of cases. The hotelier has, and probably in the PMS, they can manage them.
It's a different scenario for you, Sebastian, as you provide a sort of all-in-one platform, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a big fan for managing, or I would recommend to every hotelier to manage their commissions inside a PMS. It's the best place because, it's the most accurate place where you're recording the actual room revenue that is being generated, whether it's no-show, whether it's a shorter stay, or whether it's an extension, etc., etc. And yes, it does require you to manage that information on a rate plan level, based on the channel, and there is additional complexity with that. Would we like to automate a lot of this? Back to Christian's point, should the channel send that information accurately? Ideally, yes, but there is always a check required by the hotelier, and I'm sure Diego speaks of that as well. It has to be validated. I want to go back to sort of the cost of sales and why we're here. What we're seeing in our data is this is a really, really exciting time because a lot of changes are happening to distribution, and a lot of changes are happening when it comes to emerging channels. I think Katie talked about Trip.com. We have Nuita here, we have Hyperguest here. There's a lot of changes happening. Yes, we should be focusing on cost of distribution, but we should also be focusing on opportunity. And for me, opportunity is new channels, is large language models. It's a lot of new things that are happening in this industry. We are seeing downturn everywhere. Some more, some less, right? There is softness in North America, there's softness in Europe, there is still strength in Southeast Asia, there's still strength in LATAM, but there's a lot of changes happening. And with that comes opportunity. With that comes emerging channels. So my big recommendation to hoteliers out there is like, don't only look at existing distribution channels and minimizing cost. There's always a good opportunity to do that. But are you ready to be engaging with agentic AIs? Do you have, your content up to speed so that large language models can find you, can discover you, and can answer to that next generation of voice or agent that will find your reservation and will find your availability and will find your product and will actually book using an agent. And that
Good
agent
point.
is then an AI.
Thanks, Sebastian. Yeah. What about your source of truth? Is that
Yeah.
something we'll take in
Oh,
consideration at this aspect?
yeah. I mean, this sounds a bit. I would agree with everybody so far. I think everyone really touched on all the areas that are critical in terms of costs. My take on it is it's okay to pay for a distribution. If you have to fill in your hotel or your hotels and you want to do it yourself, you have to go out there and find clients and bring them. That's going to cost you money. Okay. And it's okay. And as long as you do it in a profitable way, if you have to build your own business and your website and your booking engine, and I 100% agree with Diego, that should be the priority if I was a hotel. 100% agree. And then you have to do advertising, digital marketing, obviously loyalty. That's going to cost you money. Okay. And it's okay as long as it's profitable. And so the idea is, and of course, you could just put a simple kind of scorecard for each partner to see what sort. But I think it's very important not to focus only on, say, payment fees, the commission, the discount, the spend, all of that. You need to track it, but you also need to add the value that new partners or existing partners bring. And by the value, things like, are you getting higher room prices? Are you getting long stays? Are clients paying and buying FNB? Are you getting the email address so you can build a rapport and you build a connection with them? And I think, so you could really look at it in terms of, instead of just saying, okay, commission and this, what is the profits? Compare those partners by profit and by the opportunity. I think that just mentioned there. What's the next thing? There's always the dependency. It's not a good thing. I think that depending on few channels, we agree on all of that. I think exclusivity is a very bad thing. And I see hotels doing that. I really don't understand that. Sorry. That's blocking kind of opportunities for you. So lost opportunity when you have, business that has been canceled. You need to track how many cancellations you're getting from each channel and see how is that affecting you. So it's not as easy as so you would need the scorecard where you bring all those elements, adding, as Sebastian said, what's the next big thing that's happening, and how is that going to add value. And then you will have some sort of scorecard, because it's easy to just say, well, I'm paying 20, 15, 18. Okay, I'm going to stop this. That's not, we think, the right way to do it. You need a holistic view that allows you really to add everything into that, especially the value you're getting and also the future of how things are evolving in the future.
Cool. Let's move to the next, also because I wanted to provide a feedback to this question to Katrina. What marketplace are you seeing as the top contributors to bookings, and which are the up and coming marketplace? Right. So, and actually the question I was going to raise now, and I will start from Jerome, just because it's more related to probably Hyperguest. We're talking about, how can hotels rethink their approach to B2B in order to gain more control, speed, and margin? Up to you.
Okay. First, I think in terms of B2B, I'd like to be more clear on that terminology, because as from the hotel perspective, since we have a gentleman from the hotel in the call as well, when they talk to an OTA, it's also B2B because the OTA is also a travel channel. When they talk to a bed bank, it's also B2B. So the term B2B here, I'd like to put more clarity wherein in terms of a travel company doing a B2B model, I think B2B companies or channel has been like a way for hotels to network with other agents. Like, when you talk with one wholesaler, or when you talk with a very reputable niche regional travel player, it opens a lot of doors to more agents that they have like their captured audience. And this has been like the setup and the way we do business for the past, at least for the past decades. And clearly and truly, reach is still very important. Like, for example, a property here in Bali, Indonesia, like with Sebastian mentioned, one of the players here, big players, are Australian market. So which are those B2B that, plays with that Australian market that we need to target. But I'd like to highlight here the additional option in the market we're in. We need transparency in the ecosystem, because I used to work for a B2B company before and on OTA, and unfortunately, I'm one of those responsible that cause complications of the travel distribution at the back end. And clearly, transparency is very important. For example, the everyday breakfast, lunch, and dinner of the hotels are still the rate disparity in other channels. So when you deal with B2B, now the loop that we kind of enter is that you report to the partner, and then the partner will say that they try to pinpoint who's selling it, and we try to talk to them, and it's never ending. It always goes in that loop that never ends. And that's why the need for transparency is very important. We're in find players or market or channels that you could see directly who is selling your rooms. And second, importantly, is that control. Control is very important, because when, for example, in that scenario, can you close it right away? Can you choose which agent I want to work with? So I think these two important factors and metrics should be incorporated as we update our approach in B2B channel. And in the past, it's non-existent, but now there are a lot of channels available, not only referring to, the technology being presented today, but I think it could also be reflective in the relationship, not only with the partner. If a travel current incumbent partner is showcasing transparency in the relationship, that's also a plus point. But ultimately, transparency and control are two non-negotiable parameters that they should be looking at in terms of B2B partners.
Thanks, Jerome. Diego, your group is very resort focus, right? And as we know, Spain, a little bit like Italy, still strongly rely on some sort of, let's say, traditional tour operators and wholesaler. So how do you take in consideration within your distribution mix this aspect of the B2B?
Yeah.
And how do you approach this?
Yeah, first of all, let's clarify. Some part of our portfolio are in downtown in Valencia, for example, or in Elche, which are city hotels. So we have a normal distribution as a city hotel. But it's true that in the resort areas, on a resort perspective, we have, or we try to have as many distribution as we can. This is at least the traditional model that worked 10 years ago, okay? When you try to go to the market with every single tour operator, travel agency, or DMC that you could have in the area. But these things have changed a lot in the last, or the distribution ecosystem has changed a lot in the last 5 years. So at least from my opinion, from my perspective, as I said, less is more sometimes. So you need to concentrate your distribution strategy in key partners. Okay, you need to have strong commitments with less clients, and in this kind of clients, spend marketing strategies, and you spend a lot of money to develop that kind of channels. Okay, I prefer to have 5 good clients where I try or where I spend a lot of money in marketing that have 50 channels without marketing.
That's a good
Okay.
philosophy. I mean,
So you need to have less clients and you need to spend more in that clients, because for sure you need to spend money in marketing strategies, in the OTAs, in the tour operators, and so on. The trade marketing is really important. The trade marketing, for all the viewers that doesn't know what is that, the trade marketing is the marketing that you do to the market, you do to the channel, to the distribution channel. And this is very important. And we try also always focus on the direct client or the final client. And sometimes you forget that there are a middleware there, which is the channel of distribution, that they need marketing strategies. They need marketing dollars. So try to work with less distributions channels and spend more money in these channels that you work with. It's the same with the GDS. Having GDS without a marketing strategy is nothing. It's nothing. It's like, to shout to the sky. It's nothing. You need to work really close with your distributions channels. If you don't do that, you have a lot of channels to erase in your distribution strategy.
just to go back to the point of Katrina and you particularly Sebastian and Christian, but also Yaya, you are connected to this marketplace. Are you familiar with those channels? Do you want to name a few of them to suggest the audience?
I mean, this is going to be very controversial because every OTA names themselves a marketplace as well, right? Expedia is a marketplace.
Let's put in a B2B
right?
side.
Like,
B2B side.
Expedia has a B2B division,
Yeah.
right? Like Booking.com is launching their B2B division. Priceline is launching their B2B division. So I feel, and this is what I will skip the question. My fear is right now is everything is called a marketplace. Right, these days, especially OTAs, and that's a reality, right? Whether we like that or not, whether that is accurate or not, it is how they're promoting themselves.
Somehow it's a marketing way to move out from and trying to differentiate from the OTA naming, but at the end everyone now is moving to marketplace naming.
I think there is a general move of the marketplaces to become more transparent, I think to Jerome's point, to permit hoteliers to have better control over where their inventory is distributed, and these are the critical factors, right? And we see specifically those providers to become much more successful because hoteliers are signing up with them and are embracing that value proposition.
All right, so let's get to the last question, guys. We are almost at the end, and this is more something related to AI. So, with AI agents and Copilot, which are increasingly used by travelers, how do you see them influencing distribution strategy? Yeah, maybe you want to share your opinion on that?
Of course, yeah. I mean, we all know this is like the biggest kind of revolution, not only in travel, but in our everyday life. We see it, you've seen it. When you look at how many people kind of downloaded the ChatGPT in the first 3 million, I think it was 100 million. So it's happening, it's here, and it should be taken extremely seriously. So I think, of course, when it comes to kind of travel, AI agents will become extremely powerful. maybe as kind of gatekeepers, if I may say it so, that will compare options and maybe book on travel on behalf of all of us at some stage. So distribution has to be ready, real time, but most appropriately structured, loyalty aware. We already see the biggest OTAs, Airbnb as well, having their AI trip planner, and they might just take a bit of a lead on that. So I think in terms of hotels and hotel chains, they have to be absolutely machine readable when it comes to AI, and even for companies like ourselves, we have to kind of make sure that the APIs are clean, that we have live rates, availability, that using the protocols that AI companies are using. Rich content is critically important. How content, content you have web today or is different online. AI functions differently. It doesn't really care about your keywords, if you see what I mean. So I think in terms of digital marketing, search engine optimization, that won't be as relevant for AI as it is today for Google. I think checking also package values, whether it comes to offers with unique bundles and perks. And then you have to really kind of plug into the AI kind of ecosystem, which being built today to maintain strong presence. There's a whole AI ecosystem there. And the same thing, I think you need to track KPIs. So there's content, there's technology, there is presence in the platforms, and on continuous monitoring. For sure. So there are solutions for hotels to plug in already AI agents today into their own websites. And there are solutions within the AI distribution itself. We are engaging hugely in it. We use it in terms of content, in terms of room mapping, in terms of hotel mapping, in terms of check-in rate parity. It was mentioned earlier, is critical for us. Use it in fraud detection. We use it in cancellation reconciliation. This is beyond the operational kind of issue things that you do as a hotel to answer emails. We move in more into using them as a booking tool itself.
Katie, I mean, you are managing a lot of data. Do you have any reference on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conversation, right? And I think about as we're moving into, especially on the hotel side, into this world of modern retailing, kind of after the airlines have done so, I think it's going to be interesting to see how do you put together these specific offers? Because if you think about how the next generation is going to book a trip with AI, they're going to put all of their requests, what do they want out of this hotel stay, into their ask, right? And so how, as a hotel, do you have that content ready to serve up to say, if they want a sea view and all of these things, how do you have that content ready to serve up so that your hotel is the one that becomes recommended? So I think that there's going to be a lot of adjustments needed on the hotel side around how you present yourself into these APIs and what makes your hotel the best option. Because as Yaya said, some of this digital marketing, et cetera, is going to go away or not be as relevant in AI, but there is going to be some algorithm that's going to put you as the recommended hotel within maybe like ChatGPT's response or whatever the case is. So it's going to be interesting. It's an interesting journey we're on for sure.
Cool. Right. Last few words from you, Sebastian, Christian, and Diego. I mean, what's your take on that? So
yeah. I think we're a little bit early for agents actually completing a reservation. We see agents and large language model being very influential and impactful for search. And this is where, going back to basics, the content has to be current. Check your reviews, make sure that your social content is up to date. Because we see most traffic right now in the large language models to help, I guess, travelers discover properties. We don't see the booking yet happening through agents, but there are some tests being done that we're part of. But I don't see that happening over time. Payments is a challenge, security is a challenge, and I do think that customers still want to interact directly through the channel that they're actually engaging with. So search is on fire when it comes to AI. Bookings, not yet.
Not yet, right. So, Christian.
Yes, I totally agree with Sebastian. Getting to having bookings done through those AI agents, there are too many issues on the table still, as you said, data protection, payments. How do you handle loyalty? So I see that quite difficult in a short term. Whilst when it comes to searches or to process optimization, as Yahya said, this is something that will certainly be used more and more. But in the end, if the question is if that will, let's say, influencing or changing distribution strategy, I would rather say it will optimize it in a certain way, but I don't see that it will really change. And for example, when it comes to the direct acquisition, the cost of acquisition for direct bookings, as Diego said in the beginning, sometimes, or someone said it, there are hotels that are paying, I don't know how much. There are tools that can help them to automate their campaigns, so you don't have to spend money in consultants. You don't have to control your budget. Here, AI, and there are a few tools that can automate that, making you save money on the distribution. But it will not, from my point of view, be a change of strategy and that you have to adapt or think of.
Diego, are you taking those conversations within your hotel groups with
for sure,
or your teams? I mean, how do you approach it?
We are having internal conversation, because from my perspective, I'm more worried. I'm more worried right now about how Google search is working than the position in the AI tools. Take into account that some weeks ago, Google incorporated the AI information in the Google search. So nowadays, when you search something about the hotels or about your trip, probably you don't go more than one position below to the first option that Google gives to you. So I'm more worried about the traffic that hotels are going to lose in this transformer, in this part. Okay, this is very important. 1 month ago, you search one hotel or one destination, and you have 10 results per page. Okay, if you were in the 11th position, you were out. If you were the 3rd or the 4th, you were almost in. But nowadays, with the new Google search, if you are not the best, if you are not the first one, you are out. So this is going to be more disruptive than appearing in the AI results right now. Probably, for sure, as we are seeing right now with the AI agents and so on, in 5 years, we will book our hotels in another completely way. But today, you need to be worried about how many viewers you will lose today in your webpage.
Exactly as Sebastian mentioned. So you need to make sure that you are in the search stage right now.
No, you need to be the first one. First one, because now the second one, you need to scroll down. You need to scroll down, being the second one. So
It's
this
like
is
being
going
the
to
second
change the way that we do digital marketing right now in the global, not only in the hospitality sector, in the retail, in every single industry. We'll need to rethink about how our clients go directly to our product, because it's going to become really, really difficult to get that clients
I
to
hope
that.
Nuiti is going to help us in that. Yeah. Last word from Yaya and Jerome, then we close. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's first of all, it's an exciting industry. I mean, we don't get bored, do we?
No, never.
And we don't. I really think that I mean, to 20, that's 2000, the arrival of OTAs, and that's 25. Like we've seen some kind of innovations, right? We've seen meta search, we've seen social media with TripAdvisor, we've seen mobile arriving with iPhone launched in 2018, people booking. Then it went quiet. We didn't really see any big kind of innovation till alternative accommodation, if you want to call it kind of innovation, with Airbnb. But since then, of course, we have innovation within technology itself, like with the channel managers, with the platform. But the big one is definitely here, with AI. I think from our perspective, we think that as generations change, we will have different type of, just naturally, because the age gap is changing. So those who are going to stay in hotels in the future are much younger than all of us. Sorry, and then their behavior is completely different. They are connected on platforms that they take with them all the time. They book differently because they influenced differently. They view the marketing differently. My son, who's 18, doesn't know what booking is.com is, because he books his stuff on TikTok. So I think there is, and then for that, technologies will make the difference. How technology stack will change, will allow that ecosystem, because technology follow what consumers desire. So the things will be completely different.
Same in APAC,
That's my
Jerome.
take.
Yep. So I think banking on this discussion on AI, I think as of the moment it's still premature to really see how this is going to pans out, and the rules of the game. Well, but short answer to this is it's just going to be another channel. I think like what mentioned earlier, when you know your audience, you know what your market. If they book, some are still booking in GDS, some are booking in OTA, some are even, I noticed, some are even booking using the maps, in when they go to the map, find the hotel, and that's the way they book. And this AI is just be another channel, because some people may prefer to book in ChatGPT, but last time I checked in ChatGPT, it still hallucinates. It's a fancy word of it lies. And but if we are trying to look at it on a marketing perspective, I think one good reference is Google Search Central. So I was trying to read some articles about what's going to happen. And yeah, I think one reminder is, number one, um, we need to understand that this AI are looking at our website as 101010. So it's important to really update the schema markups, the label of your website. Let's say, for example, if you have a heated pool, make sure the schema markup says it's heated pool. Otherwise, those AI are just seeing as 101010. Right. And then second is, don't overcomplicate it. Try to book your own hotel in ChatGPT and see if you appear. Right.
Good point. Great example.
Right. And then use those exact search to understand why you don't appear. Because exactly those are the reason that probably missing, and you start to bank and capitalize on that. Right? Use ChatGPT to also use AI to
Understand where
conquer
is the
AI.
missing up. Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah, but ultimately, like, I think one observation is, like, I think those who are going to be booking in AI, it's time for us to revisit the long tail keywords. Like in the past, we always look at best hotel in Rome, beautiful view in Florence, right? But now when you go to ChatGPT, you normally put, I want a picturesque hotel in Florence with heated pool. It tends to be longer. So I think now it's also a good chance to revisit those long tail keywords because it may be relevant in the next game of AI.
Thanks,
And if I
Jerome.
can just
Great.
add something to
Sure.
Diego's point and Jerome's point, the scary part will be that in the short term, agentic AI will remove a marketplace and will return one result.
Yeah.
That's the scary part, right?
The first one, the best one.
Correct. The best one answering the question that the guest has, which is, I need
No
a
doubt.
family-friendly hotel in Florence, that knows me, that understands me, and there will be one response only. And the marketplace is gone. That's the scary part. However, there's opportunities with that too, and we need to prepare for that.
And probably the answer will be different. If we answer this to ChatGPT the same question, I will get an answer, you will get a different one. I mean, that's the expectation, right? So hyper-personalization is going to be the result of the AI in the future. Thank you,
I think,
guys.
and so,
Everyone.
sorry, I think this is, after a year, I think this is interesting to revisit this call and let's see what happens.
Yeah,
You were right, you were wrong.
In 1 year, we will meet again.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
Katie, Christian, Jerome, Sebastian, Yaya, Diego. Really appreciate your contribution.
Thank you,
I
guys.
think the audience
Thank you very
enjoyed.
much.
And I hope to see you on the next chapter of live streaming on my stage. And have a nice evening, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.